and I'm testifying on They Overcame By. This is my story. I was owned one of the biggest gay clubs in Michigan. Number 2 in the state. All was good. Money was racking in. But where it all began, it began with the root. It began with me being a tomboy, me not having a father, me, not knowing my true identity. So the devil played on me pretty early. But it wasn't until college when it really, began to show, as I was still just different than all the rest of the girls. I did everything from, playing football. I did, what all the boys did. So I thought maybe I was possibly supposed to be a boy. So I had identity issues. But that wasn't really what happened that really changed the game for me. What happened was when I went to college, when, we all kind of get a little crazy, I was approached because I was still dressing the part of a tomboy. So it was assumed that I was gay. And at that point, I was approached by a woman who asked me, have you ever kissed a girl before? And that one kiss changed my life for over 10 years. That one kiss led me down to a road of a lifestyle that led me to the club I'm going to tell you about. There's so much more to that. But that lifestyle, I was engaged to be married. I was happy. Everything was good. I had a house. My mom was okay with it as much as she could, the supportiveness of everything that she could do. But I was an entrepreneur in that all, too. So I was all about making money. I was all about doing parties. I was all about doing this. And I saw an avenue that, I'm in a lifestyle, so let me just show people how to really do it, how to party, how to do this, because that was, if you can't tell, that's kind of me. I'm off the chain. So, with that, I went from college all the way from when I got out of college, even though I had an engineering degree, I decided that I wanted to make money in the promotion game. And that's where the club came. Once again, I owned the biggest club. Every night, I racked in thousands of dollars. Once again, I had a chick in the game at the time. There was a lot of things going my way. But I like to say this, and I like to use these words. I was successfully miserable because with all of that, I was missing something and I didn't know something. And that's when, God finds a great way of showing or tapping you on the shoulder and saying, my daughter, I got something better for you. And I share this. I'm going to be very, very candid when I tell you this. It was actually a very intimate moment with my girlfriend at the time. And I never forget, she stopped what we were doing. She said, I can't do this anymore. And I raised up. I said, hold on. We're going to have to fight. I think you might be cheating on me or something. That's what I'm thinking. She said, I can't do this anymore. She said, this lesbian thing, I've heard that it's not right. Somebody's been telling me and sending me scriptures, and we went from the bed, and I never forget, she was sitting on the couch, and I was sitting on the floor. She began to tell me the convictions of people sending her, scriptures and all of this. And keep in mind, I had these tats. I believed in God, but I didn't have a relationship, so I didn't understand what she was saying. I wasn't going to church. I didn't have that background, so I wasn't sure. I knew there was a God. I knew somebody had to create me, but that's all I knew, enough to be looking at her to say, hold on, you can't tell me that everything that I'm doing right now is wrong? And I began to go in my head. I'm thinking I'm owning this successful club. I had a nonprofit organization. I'm in the heart of the lifestyle. This is what I do every day. And I just began to bawl and cry because I couldn't believe that my life was wrong. That's how I looked at it. At that point, that's when I made a decision to do some homework myself. After having that conversation and really crying my eyes out about what, at the time, I didn't understand was wrong. So of course, I read the Romans, I read 1 Corinthians, I read those things, but that still wasn't enough for me. And I'll be honest with you. I know that some people say the same thing. You see it right on paper, but it still didn't make sense. And to be honest with you, that's kind of where I was. My next step was to go to church. I needed that love. I needed something else. I was still searching, just like I said before. I was missing, though I had everything, I was still missing something. So going to church, the one thing that, was a problem for me going to church, I was a tomboy. So, of course, I got judged as soon as I walked in. pews. Every church that I went to, they always judged me, but this church was different. I give love to Brightmoor Christian Church because as soon as I walked in there, they loved on me regardless of what I was wearing, what I looked like, what I smelled, whatever it was. You know, they loved on me. And that opened the door for my heart to be open to what God had for me that day. And I never forget crying the first time I was there, you know, as I felt like the pastor was just talking to me. So that first time, crying my eyes out. Second time, crying my eyes out. And it was that third time, you know, it felt like I was receiving some of the things that I felt like I was missing. And that was the day I walked down, you know, as they do the altar call, and I said the sinner's prayer. Nah. That was just the start of my walk because, and I'll be honest with you, a lot of times once you do the sinner's prayer and all of that, people don't prepare you for what comes on. I thought things were supposed to just change. Now it's like, okay, I just said the sinner's prayer. All right, God, change it up. Here we go. Where you? And that wasn't what happened. You know, I began to get a little angry because I'm still daily owning the club. I'm still attracted to my girlfriend. We're still, you know, doing things and all of that. And I never forget the conversation that we had. I began to cry. I was angry. I began drinking more because I didn't like being at the club. Because at this point, I'm convicted. I don't know what to do. I'm confused. I'm not sure. And the conversation went just like this. She said, well, what do you think is supposed to happen? You still own a club. I said, wow. And at that point, these are the choices that I had to make. I began to have conversations with God that was very rare. I didn't know how to have them. I didn't know how to pray, but I knew he had to do something. I said, God, if you want me to give this thing up, you're going to have to show me. You're going to have to make it very clear to me. Because right now I'm making too much money. You know, and it's not that I was not happy with women. I still love being with women. It was just that fact of knowing that something I was doing was wrong. And I'm searching and seeking for something that I was not getting from all the great things that seemed to be happening in my life. So, there's an intimate moment that I had with God, but he led me in a way that showed me I had the ability to walk away from everything. And when he made that very clear to me, that's exactly what I did. I walked away from everything. There was no money given to me. There was nothing sold. I lost everything because I gave it up just for God. I gave it up because that I believed that God, you know, truly was the way I needed to walk. And that meant giving up my club. I shut it down. My name was on everything. I had the ability to shut it down. I lost my car. I lost my place. I lost my friends. I lost everything because I began to have a relationship with God that pulled on me to say, God, I want you more than I want the things that I have in this world. Nah, I'm not going to say that that was an easy task for me because in the midst of it, once again, I lost everything. I ended up by myself. I was on my own. I was still left to figure out what to do with my temptations. I was still left to figure out what to do with this identity thing that I still was dealing with because now, God, what am I supposed to be? Who am I supposed to be? I didn't even know how to, and I know people may laugh, I didn't even know how to be a woman because I was so used to being the man. You know what I'm saying? So it was so much that I had to learn. Not on top of that, I had to learn who God truly was and with the power that he had to change some of the things that I was so used to being or doing. So it was amazing to me that in a year's time, he just began to just deal with me. But it took a step of faith and obedience that I had to truly walk in. And that's a lot of things that a lot of people know me by is my obedience and my faith walk. I do something that's called Transparent Tuesdays, and that started with this faith walk because I was frustrated. And I'll be honest with you, I was frustrated with the church. I was frustrated with people, family, because nobody knew how to help